As Codyj is on the team that says that Codyj is toxic. So it's pretty simple to remember. You can just call him, Mr. Toxic.
Yeah, they're just telling it like it is.
Yeah, you're making it simple. It's always good stuff when, that your team is calling you out for your own toxic plays. Basically, if you ever play that new girl, Nico. Which, by the way, first of all, welcome back to the stream as a Shoutcaster. That's awesome. I think I need to update Wraith's name because you're not Salic. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Mr. Cold Art himself is back. But what are your thoughts on Nico while we get a couple of quick initial bans from both teams?
I'm honestly not sure how useful she'll be. Like, I'd have to play test her because she doesn't really. She has like a root. Her kit's really basic, honestly. Aside from like the whole trickster class element that she has, she can be good, but she looks like one of those champions that's gonna be good almost entirely based on their base stats. She's not like Zoe, who is like, regardless of what her stats are, she's still decent in some way thanks to her sleep and other CC. Or fresh.
Yeah, I see her as being one of those one-trick kind of champions in that eventually pro players will really start to be able to pick out which one is her clone and which one's her. And that's the reason why you don't see Shaco in pro play very much, is because eventually when you start to really understand the characters, it's not that hard to figure out what's going on. And then additionally, at crazy high pro levels, they're choosing whether they fight or they don't fight. And so trying to decide, which Xayah is it? There's so many Xayahs on the map. Well, does it matter? Either you're going in and killing one of them, i.e. you kill Xayah, or you kill Nico. And either way, it's creating a 4v5 situation. Or you're leaving the fight. And so the only thing that she's really there to do is cause mild amounts of disruption and be a CC monster. If you look at her kit, it's almost all about slows and stuns and snares and those types of things. And so I think she can be a really powerful jungler or bottom lane support. Maybe I've seen somebody trying to AP, take her in the mid lane, and she's okay. But I think eventually, once people really figure out how her mechanics work like a Shaco, she's just going to be that individual person's favorite champion, and otherwise just be a fun pick to troll the enemy champion, but not be kind of a main meta character.
Yeah, no, her main thing is definitely a bit of a novelty, but I still think depending on what champions she's playing with, like, if you see two LeBlancs, it actually does matter which one's a LeBlanc, because one can instantly kill you and the other one can't. And so you're going to have to be playing around the threat that they create a lot. So it really depends, I think, on like what her teammates are and where she's going with it. Will faking ganks really do much? Maybe. I don't know. If I played more of like the Bilgewater mode when they had the item at this ability, then I think I'd be able to say more definitively how useful this actually is, especially in the long term.
Right, and that's where I really kind of want to wait to see her base stats and how tanky she is, because I feel like she's going to be a bit of a squishier champion. She's not necessarily going to be able to take a lot of punishment, and so it's going to be about playing around the cooldowns and about layering the CC effectively with your team. So, rephrase, yes. I think that people can use the abilities in the clone, but from what I was seeing when it came to the teaser trailer they put out, the clone mostly just walks in a straight direction until it's hit and dissolves, or it just dissolves anyway. And so I don't think that it's going to do that much. And most champions have a quick spell that they can kind of toss out their Q or even an auto attack if they're a ranged champion, just to kind of one attack check whether or not it's the clone. And maybe that'll be enough. Maybe she will be a huge nuisance because that one auto attack can change the stages of a fight, but I highly doubt it. I see her being played a lot when it comes to high gold, low diamond, those types of areas, in that someone who can master her could really be a good effect, but I don't think anyone's going to get to master off of her, if that makes sense.
Well, someone will. Well, like I said, it's really going to depend on like what our base damages and stats are, because you give anyone enough damage, they'll be useful, right? It's or like how long the CC is, right? So I think she'll eventually be strong, but it's not going to be because her kit is just inherently strong, like the way certainly T designs his champions.
Right.
It'll be mostly because of the stats, if anything.
Hey, Herod Gaming. It's been, I don't know, actually, have you been on the stream before? If you haven't, welcome first time. If you want to play, you're more than welcome to. You can use that exclamation point join, or you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the crazy hype of the XLNC Shoutcasting games. As it is, we've been talking about Nico for a while, but let's talk about these teams so far. As Jake Smellton's got a Zed, a Jax, a Teemo, and are now hovering the Leona as well. Really curious to see if this is a jungle Teemo that we've seen pop up on stream before or not and kind of be a nuisance. But they're really weighing into this AD, the Zed and Jax. So I'm curious to see what their last pick is.
Yeah, and the opposite team is doing just the reverse. They're almost entirely AP so far. Granted, they'll probably pick up an AD carry here to finish out the roster, but so far it looks like they're just heavy on the Nautilus presses R on someone, Diana presses R on someone, and then the Akali presses R on someone, and then they're just dead. But
yeah,
those comps are strong, but
this is where Wraith talks about ease of playability. When you have these champions that are kind of press button win game, like a Vigar Ultimate, it makes life a lot easier, and it's not a complicated champion to play, can make for much easier team fights to be able to figure out. They do have the Akali, who is a little bit more of a complex champion. I'm excited to see Phantom of Intent back on that Akali. It's been a little while, but happy to have you back. And then we do have the Tristana and Vladimir as the last two picks. Looks like the trades have already gone through, but we'll wait on the spells before truly calling out what lanes everyone is going in, because I still think that it might be a Teemo jungle. Could be a Jax in the jungle and a Teemo top lane. And
Jax jungle seems most likely, but yeah, for sure. I've seen the Teemo jungles before. It's not a fun thing to play against.
No, hold on a second. I'm gonna wait for the last couple seconds to sit down, but I've got a different prediction when it comes to Jake Smellton and their composition, where everyone's gonna go. I do like the Alistar Tristana combo coming out of Codyj is toxic. Spells are gonna lock in, and it's a teleport on Vladimir. Okay, so here's what I'm predicting. I'm gonna run through Jake Smellton if you want to run through Codyj is toxic. For Jake Smellton, it's Intra taking Jax in the jungle, Boxy on the Zed in the mid lane, Fallen Angel YT16 with Teemo in the carry role, no free names with Leona support, and Mina taking Vladimir in the top lane.
Yeah, that sounds most likely here. I've seen Teemo AD carry before. It's been done. I've never liked it, but it's completely possible that it'll work here with Leona. You can basically treat it like a kill lane where they just push up aggressively into the Tristana Nautilus. And as long as they play around their aftershock cooldowns well, they can definitely take the lead over their bot lane.
All right, for the side of Codyj is toxic, we've got Katnair with Diana in the jungle, Phantom of Intent on the Akali in the mid lane, Codyj taking the Alistar support, swings both ways on the Nautilus in the top lane, and Arcane Vixen on the Tristana in the carry role. Talk to me a little bit about this Nautilus, especially against a Vladimir in the top lane, where he's kind of one of those slower, tanky champions, could get easily harassed out by Vladimir's Q, but he does have that passive where he stuns people when he auto-attacks them within a certain amount of cooldown. How's that going to play into this?
Just a quick small correction there. It's a root, not a stun.
Oh.
But yeah, which does make a difference, because if it was a stun, I think Nautilus would be picked every single game. But as it is, he's still very strong. I will say into Vladimir, I'm not too confident in how well he'll do. Honestly, top lane Nautilus has been out of the meta for a long time. He's been mostly relegated to support now, but it can definitely still work. The thing is also Vlad top is also largely out of the meta, so it's kind of hard to predict just based on especially for all the changes that have come. I don't know if you remember now, but basically the entire game has changed. They've added turret plating.
Oh yes. I was actually
we probably should have talked about those.
Some of these players have actually been playing with those changes, so I know a little bit about it. For those of you who don't, we'll talk about it during the loading stage. I was hopeful that I would get a chance to actually play with those changes, but as just timing worked out, it wasn't going to be that way. So my first experience is actually going to get to Shoutcast, and that's kind of cool, is I get to actually Shoutcast the game before I even experience it.
I've only played one with it myself.
I did listen to an hour-and-a-half breakdown of all of the changes, including all of how those towers with the armor works out the changes to minions in which they gain speed later into the game, the changes to minions' health and damage, and it is crazy. But I do want to say, before we get too much further, welcome everyone. Jake Smellton versus Codyj is toxic for game number 1. It's going to be an awesome game. I'm excited. I think we've got them fairly even out on overall skill. Coldart is joining us. It's going to be a pretty awesome time. Coldart, what is your favorite change of all of the craziness that is happening? Last year when they switched over, they made the jungle insane. This year, they're making the lanes just completely different.
Yeah. Honestly, I really like the direction Riot's taking the game. I think I've agreed with almost every single one of their choices. Turret plating is a great idea. The turning down the spawn timers of the Drakes from 6 to 5 minutes is a great idea. Matching Baron and Elder Dragon spawn timers so they're both 6 minutes, another good idea that I like a lot. Making the minions able to actually push things so you don't need Baron to push. I really just like the whole direction they've taken. There are some kind of ones I'm kind of iffy on. I don't like what they did to Celerity by basically just removing the rune, but those are pretty iffy. On the whole, I really like all the changes they made to make the laning phase longer and more steady, I suppose, and also make fights happen much more frequently.
I am interested in seeing how things work out because, again, a lot of it is what you're thinking. Ideally, this is the way things are going to be, but after a couple of months of experience, players are going to have some new ideas on how to handle the different situations.
Yeah.
The one thing that I see that I fear when it comes to it, hey Ice, welcome, is people that are winning are going to have a lot more fun. Because it's going to be a lot more fun to push in, to knock off that one tick on the turret, back away, get a good backing, buy some items, come back to the lane. People that are having a bad time. Champions that are in lane that are really struggling. If you don't have a winning lane, those first 15 minutes until that armor falls off that turret is going to be really, really tough because you're kind of stuck in that laning phase. And even if you're losing so badly that turret goes down, the second tier turret doesn't have that armor, which is going to make it even easier for the person who's snowballing that one individual lane that's doing really well to snowball it even harder. So where lanes are evenly matched, I think it's going to be a ton of fun for both sides because they're going to be kind of just focused on me outplaying you and you outplaying me. Let's do this. But I could see in a losing matchup, the game just really, really suffering, and there being a lot more surrenders if people feel like there's just no way to come back in the game.
I actually don't completely agree with that because I think the turret changes both allow for like the aggressive team to get rewarded without like the scaling lanes to just completely lose because now the turrets live much longer. The first turret. So you're not going to see that thing happen where, bot gets 4-man ganked, and then you lose your turret at 8 minutes, and all of a sudden the top lane is getting ganked by the bot lane because bottom lost their turret. Because these turrets are going to, generally speaking, last much longer, while yes, laning phase lasts longer, I would say that actually benefits the scaling lanes rather more than like the winning lanes that are getting picked. And again, it's going to be hard to say for sure because it's only like the day one. But that was definitely Riot's goals of the changes. And I've only played one game on it, but I think so far it looks pretty promising.
Yeah, and well, that's again, something for me when I'm just postulating, because again, I haven't played, and it's going to take a little bit of time for us to kind of see where everything settles out. I'm postulating that it's going to allow teams to snowball a little bit harder. Well, the other thing to keep in mind is that elo differences are going to be a big deal when it comes to this sort of stuff. How a master tier player responds to the armor and changes within the meta having to do with it is going to be very different than if a bronze or a silver is responding to that, where they're just going to play whatever champion they feel like playing because that's what most of us, including myself, I'm a silver trash, that's how I do, are just going to pick my favorite champion and play it regardless. And so those things are going to be different. And you are right, then which if a lane, even if they're snowballing, they will still be stuck in that lane unless they just absolutely smash insanely hard the lane so that they literally just don't even have opponent. Force them to, AFK, and that way they're able to just walk up to the turret and free hit it all day long. They're still going to be stuck in lane until that 15-minute mark. But I feel the time between those armor falling off at the 15-minute mark till when they objectively want the game to be over at the 30-minute mark, that is going to be a very interesting, and for me as a caster, fun time, because that's when everything really spices up.
Yeah, well, I like the change just for gameplay-wise, because laning phase kind of becomes like this mini fighting game where everyone's like 1v1. And I can say, if you've ever played like top lane by yourself, people always complain about the jungler, right? Because it's ruining your 1v1 gameplay.
Why
Right?
do they always gotta gank?
Yeah, or they're complaining about the bot lane roaming up at 9 minutes because your bot lane got smashed and they lost their turret, right? And so I don't know how well it'll work for casting. I do think casting will be much more exciting post 14 minutes when those turrets start falling because of these dragon and baron changes that have been happening. I don't know if you remember this, but the first dragon is also much more impactful as well. So even with these turret changes, when Infernal Drake is giving 10% or Mountain Drake is giving 16% on like the first clear, you're probably likely to see a lot more dragon fights in like the 5 to 10 minute mark now, because those things become much more impactful early on than they were before.
Yeah, if you guys aren't aware or haven't heard, the first dragon that you pick up, I believe it's 150% bonus to how effective it is for your team. And so what I was listening to on the guy analyze the breakdown was saying that, and by the way, if you didn't notice, we just kind of talked right through the pause. Didn't even matter. We're just still talking about all the preseason changes. So thank you for that pause, everyone who's in this game, because it gave us more time to do some of this analytic stuff. An early Ocean Drake can be massively impactful because not only are you going to be staying in lane longer, and so the Ocean Drake is going to be more effective, it's later stages of the game where longer team fights means you don't quite get those resets of the Ocean Drake unless you truly break away from the fight, heal up to then go back in. But an early Ocean Drake as like a first Drake with the bonus as well can completely change the way that a game goes. Maybe even more impactful than, say, an Infernal Drake.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ocean Drake has always been that Drake that's completely busted if you get it in like the first 15 minutes, and then terrible at any time after that, aside from like pushing with Baron. But absolutely, I think every dragon is going to be a lot more contested now than it was before. Too often, I think we were seeing people just kind of like, oh, it's an Ocean Drake, whatever. Let him have it. Doesn't really matter.
I was incorrect. It's a Teemo in the top lane and a Vladimir carry in the bottom lane. We haven't seen Vlad in the bottom lane in a very long time. Even you think to like Swains are more commonly picked as an AP carry in the bottom lane, but as it is, Teemo in the top lane going to be able to harass the Nautilus out pretty well because he does have that range and can continuously poke away.
The range top laner. The scourge of all true top lane players, the Heshinshins of the world. As bot lane's getting engaged on, actually, this is thanks to the Vlad being sitting at the turret, he wasn't able to get the minions pushing, so he's going to take a pretty bad trade for himself here.
Yeah, that level 2 on the Alistar immediately says, time to go, hop in, get the double man knock up, and that's going to harass Vladimir down to about half. But again, it is a Vladimir. He's going to have that Q to just be able to suck a lot of extra life back in from those minions. The main thing to start keeping an eye on is the farm differential between those two in that bottom lane, because he's got to be the AP carry for this team. We've got 80 in the mid, 80 in the jungle, potentially AD Teemo in the top lane. So you really need to have a good AP carry on that bottom lane of the Vladimir.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be awkward for him the whole time because he's always going to be a little distinct from Leona since Leona got 3 millions of solo EXP while he didn't. So they're level 2 and level 3. They're not going to really have that powerful power spike Leona's known for having in the bot lane. So it's probably just going to be them farming out for the rest of the lane here until Jax potentially pays a visit down to the spot side. There's also Diana jungle, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I did have Diana in the jungle. Cool. The other thing that these longer laning phases at that 15-minute mark is going to change is how the junglers respond. Where do they gank? Do they have 15 minutes to just keep ganking the same lane? And how do they choose their path? So far, it looks like they've each been able to pick up one Scuttle Crab, so they should be fairly close on overall experience. And again, the Drake has not spawned because it will spawn at the 5-minute mark rather than the 2-minute mark now.
Yeah, you're not seeing any more of those very cheesy Drakes where you just have the Warwick walk to the 2 minutes and 30 seconds and just solo take it and get their team a lead.
Oh, swings both ways, uses the shield, goes back in with the Q, but he's got the minions on his side, and they deal a lot more damage than usual. The flash forced out by the Teemo, so he will survive. Fallen Angel able to escape, but a good turnaround from swings both ways, recognizing I have the shield and the cooldowns to go right back in and force that Teemo out of lane. However, he's hiding at the moment. May go in, throws out the Q, a little bit extra damage to the shield, though. Keeps Nautilus alive for now. We'll see as swings both ways decides to back, has the teleport.
Yeah, one other thing about the teleports, since we have so many of them in this game, is that remember that it's no longer cancelable anymore. So if you see any more teleports, someone not always teleporting to the bot lane or Teemo teleporting to the bot lane, they can't cancel those anymore. They're committed.
Oh, nice damage from that electrocute by the Zed. As soon as Akali went in, Zed, unafraid, decides to just respawn in turn, knocks that Akali down to about half health. She is sitting on a recall, so she'll probably go back, try to get a couple of items, refresh her pots before coming back to lane. When it comes to that teleport, as a support, I don't use it too much myself, but when I do, I'm kind of like a Lee Sin in that I'm usually all in anyway. I very rarely canceled, so that won't affect me personally.
My soldiers march on!
I do see people when it has affected them before. As Alistar goes in, kicks the two-man knocker once again. Leona trying to engage with the Tristana, gets the stun, but is going to be stunned up by Alistar herself. She's super tanky though, goes right back in, forces the Alistar away. We'll take a little bit of damage from the grenade. In the meantime, we got a gank up the top side as Catinator looks for the Teemo. Fallen Angel has yet to back, so sitting at no health and no pots will go down. First blood goes over, two swings both ways on the Nautilus, and a new moon is rising. 92. Thank you for the follow as well. If you'd like to get into these games, feel free to use the exclamation point join to get into the pool for being able to pull into these games. It's Foxy
Ooh, that going on Diana.
Wanting to find him, forces the flash over the wall. That's a hard wall to flash for Diana, as Foxy throws out another pair of shurikens, getting a little bit of damage, but allowing Diana to run away for the moment because they've refocused their target onto Phantom of Temp, who uses the Shroud to get back to lane safely. So pressure from Jake Smellton good, but that's in response to losing their top laner.
Yeah, an impressive early gank by Diana, considering her considerable lack of CC in the early game before she hits level 6. Able to take Teemo down despite the fact that he actually had it warded up in the top side. Teemo looking a little greedy this game. Let's see if that trend continues as he plays out the lane.
And Teemo didn't teleport either. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I had nothing else to say. Okay. Yeah, no, he didn't teleport, but he wants to save that. Might be looking for a bot lane gank at some point. Maybe a mid lane. I will say that looking at the Akali into the Zed matchup, Akali is not the demon that people think she is anymore. She's been sitting at a pretty lousy 46% win rate for the last few weeks. Certainly, you can still perform if you are a pro player or excel at the champion. But I think as we transition to the mid game, we'll be seeing Zed be potentially a lot more impactful if he plays the champion. With the champion well.
And again, the great thing about Zed is that he can, with that ultimate, follow people through their movements. I mean, you've got Akali who's going to be able to hop over walls. You've got Nautilus who's going to try to hook to walls to escape. Tristana jumping around. Zed's ult can be massively impactful when it comes to being able to chase people through their animations, jumping around the map. So we'll see how effective he is at using that. We're fairly even in gold at the moment. I'm curious about that team not using teleport to get back to lane, especially when we do have these extended laning phases. He is ahead in minions though, so it's not exactly going to hurt him.
Yeah. No, it's just, he's probably looking to see if he can make a play bot lane once Leona and Vladimir hits level 6. You do have a lot of CC coming out of Leona. And if you stop the Tristana's jump as she tries to go for it, there's definitely some kill potential accessible there. It's hard to say though how much damage or even CC support the Teemo can really add, but we'll just see how he's going to pilot it.
All right, the first Drake has spawned, and we talked about how powerful an early Drake is. It is the Ocean Drake. And we'll see which one of these junglers decides to go for it. Especially these days, it's almost required to have the jungler to be able to guarantee
the bot lane's getting engaged
towards that bottom lane. As Leona's going to find the stun on the Alistar, who uses the headbutt to get himself out of harm's way. Even the slow from Leona won't be able to do that much, as a beautiful ultimate from Tristana knocks all the members of Jake Smellton away. And the fight is disengaged with some really good play between Codyj and Arcane Vixen in that bottom lane.
Yeah, they went hard on the Alistar, but he just cleanses it with his ultimate and just doesn't take any damage thanks to the 55% reduction. It's really hard for them to make a play, especially when the Tristana also has her ult up and Alistar can just headbutt the Jax away. Very smoothly played by the team of Codyj.
Well, what was really cool was the ability for the Alistar to headbutt Jax as he was leaping forward. So they kind of traded spots. And when he did that, not only did he avoid the stun by Jax, but he avoided the ultimate from Leona as well. So it's kind of an accidental 2-for-1 combo in which Alistar escaped death twice over because of it. And just some really good play. I mean, maybe we'll call it 400 IQ. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah. And I think really right now the Diana should be trying to focus pretty hard in the bottom lane here, because a lot of what they need gold on right now is definitely the Tristana. She's going to be the one that helps empower for these teams. I'm not really too confident in the Akali's ability to necessarily carry here until she gets that Hexset Gunblade she's looking for. And it looks like Diana agrees that she goes in.
Oh, the Alistar 2 knockup once again, coming through beautifully. Vladimir already gone despite the pool, wasn't able to escape. Now no free name should be going down as well. Catinator picks up one, the second one given over to Codyj with that Ignite. So 2 more kills to the side of Codyj is toxic, and they're starting to stack up pretty well, but don't let those kills dissuade you from the fact that Jake Smellton's not that far behind just because of the out farming they've been doing so far the game. That should be, though, first Ocean Drake over to the side of Codyj.
It looks like Jake Smellton also trading back a bit here, taking the Rift Herald at the same time with the Ocean Drake. But all told, I'd have to give the advantage to the side of Codyj here, as they're able to pick up that Ocean Drake that is extremely impactful in these lanes for at least the next 10 minutes here, as they get a massive 6% regen when out of combat with champions in particular.
Now, do you know off your head, Mr. Analyst, how long you have before you have to drop the Rift Herald?
Rift Herald in particular?
In your inventory.
It's about 240 seconds, so about 4 minutes.
Okay, that's actually just about perfect timing. If they wait to the last possible second to drop it, well, Jax decides to gank the mid lane, forces the flash out of the Akali, which is very nice.
Yes.
If he waits to the last possible second to drop it, they could be able to drop it after the turret loses its shield, and they become incredibly squishy at that point. So if you wait to the last possible second, maybe even dropping it in your base, letting Rift Herald take the time to walk down the lane, and then you get charges off on those turrets, it could make it for a much easier time taking out those turrets after the shield is dropped.
Oh, and bot lane's going in. Codyj getting a great initiation off.
Oh, nice stun though from Leona. Is going to freeze up Arcane Vixen for the moment. She's extremely low, might be going down. Vladimir's able to pick it up with the auto attack. And now they have a stun onto Alistar as well. Codyj unable to save his teammate. He's got a stun up and available. Will stun Leona, but it's a Vladimir who's doing all the damage. Forces the flash out. He should be able to walk away and survive, though extremely low health, and will be backing. But that's first blood to Jake Smellton for the first kill for Jake Smellton on that bottom side.
Yeah, getting them on the board. Looks like they take out Alistar right away as well.
All right, in the meantime, we got a fight on the top side. Catinator walking away from the Shroom. That Rochelle is going to go through, knock down 1, 2. They only have 2 more sections of the shield left on that bottom side as there's a fight in the mid lane. Akali trying to take out Zed, unable to do so. She's extremely low, so we'll need to be playing safe there. Looks like
look how tanky this turret is.
Be dropping down.
So
Actually, it might be able to take out Shelly. Okay, so Shelly survives with a sliver of health. The question is, will she get another shot on the next turret? No, she will not. Tristana should be able to clean her up. So they are able to pick up first turret blood on that bottom side at the 12-minute mark. Catinator flashing a wall, trying to avoid Boxy, who just hops right back over, but he's going to be bursted down. He's forced to flash away. Catinator goes back, and he's got no mana. Diana's going to have to auto-attack this Zed to finish him off. There's a laugh as Catinator just smites him. What am I talking about? No mana needed to drop the smite. 2 kills to 5. Codyj still doing well, but we are even in gold.
And yeah, I mean, I was underestimating how powerful Rift Herald would be against these turret plates. Remember that every turret plate gives 160 gold over towards the enemy champions surrounding it. And if you're able to take all 5 plates, you're collecting an easy 800 gold that you just don't get after 14 minutes. So potentially Rift Herald, since it looks like it completely ignores any of the armor resistances that these turret plates give, is actually can be worth a lot more gold than it might have been earlier in the season.
All right, so with that, we are still fairly even between these two. Phantom of Temp in the mid lane has gotten that mid lane turret down pretty darn low. but hasn't quite finished off just yet. There it is, a 14-minute mark. Sorry, I've been saying 15 minutes this whole time. 14-minute mark, those shield plates will drop off. Going to make it a lot easier to take those turrets out, especially that mid lane one as it's sitting pretty darn low. Zed, however, wants to keep shoving Akali in, so she's not going to have an easy time getting to that turret to drop it and give that first turret to Codyj as Toxic.
But she has hit that critical Hex-Tech Gunblade power spike. This lets her really contest the Zed in terms of fighting and potentially getting some of these kills that will help her snowball into the monster Akali is known for being in solo queue.
Boxy still sitting in that mid lane, even gold with that Akali. We got a little bit of chat talking about that Teemo in the top lane losing his advantage. He is down a bit in farm and has given over 2 deaths, but he's still able to harass that Nautilus out of lane, and he is doing a pretty decent amount of roaming as well. So we'll see what the end result is. His teleport's already been used. He's going to have to walk back to lane on that top side. I'm trying to just focus overall on the game state at the moment. Vladimir is up 2 kills. But we do have a 2-0 Diana in the jungle for the side of Codyj is Toxic. Is Akali going to be gauged upon by the Zed? Jack's coming in as well. Akali just going to run away with that fancy KDA skin.
Yeah, we're having that relaxing LCS gameplay here. No big fights, no massive overcommits, just steady farming it out and occasional kills fought by both teams as they trade objectives fairly evenly for the most part, with only a slight 1k gold lead over to the side of JK. But they're about to pick up this Infernal Drake, it looks like, as Diana is already ready to pick it up. Yeah,
it seems that Codyj is Toxic has just done a better job of paying attention to where that pressure is. They saw the jungler kind of leaving the mid lane, so this is our time to pick up a second Drake of the game. And Akali able to push out that mid lane with the recalling Zed. It means that they not only get that turret, but they're also get the Infernal Drake, and now they can engage on Teemo on that bottom side, and nice move from Diana, walks right between those mushrooms, so she's going to be able to hop right in. Cat in there to pick up his 3rd kill of the game. He's got a pretty decent bounty on his head that we get to see now, thank you to the awesome spectator mode being updated. As Jax goes in, gets a 2-man stun underneath the turret. Diana going to be able to take a couple of shots, but it's Codyj who's tanking for the moment. He's still standing inside the turret, continue to tank it up, finally forced to walk away. His Phantom Attempt going to take 2 shots as it does pretty darn amount of damage, surprising amount of damage as they has been changed around. Katnir still wanting to engage onto Intra. No free names, trying to run away. Diana tanky as well, but I don't think it's going to be tanky enough. Katnir picks up a 4th kill.
Yeah, it looks like Codyj's Toxic is just one step ahead. Even though it looked like for a second that they might be able to strike back and take on a kill with the help of the turret, it just wasn't meant to be as a takedown. Another turret in the bottom lane and look to push their advantage potentially to 2.
Alright, so it's still 2 turrets to 2. Nautilus pushing that top lane turret, has it down below half. Teemo going to try to respond, but there's still 3 members pushing on that bottom side, so Codyj is Toxic should be able to pick up the second one with Tristana just smashing it down. These are those squishier turrets once you get past that 14-minute mark and those shields drop off, so the bottom lane 2nd tier turret will fall as well, and that has very quickly escalated to a 4,000 gold lead for Codyj is Toxic.
Yeah, and like less than a couple minutes ago, it was looking like a fairly even game, but all of a sudden they cracked the game wide open. They take multiple turrets in the bottom side, and it looks like as the Baron will be coming up in a couple minutes here, they might be looking to swing towards that Baron and get vision up in the top side jungle, the bottom side jungle, of Jake Smellton pretty soon.
And that's one of the things about when you push a lane in super hard is it forces someone on the enemy team to respawn. Has to go clear a wave that's going to build up. Now, one of the nice things from this composition from Jake Smellton is they do have that teleport on Vladimir. It's not up right now, but he will be somebody that can go bottom lane, clear the wave quickly, and then head to wherever the team fight is or teleport if necessary. Teemo the same as well. Walk in, drop 2 mushrooms, blow up the entire wave, teleport into a team fight. So they have a decent way to respond to this if it comes down to it. But as you said, you can see the response from Codyj is Toxic. 3 members to that top side, they're going to want to shove in and get another 2nd tier turret.
Yeah, and you have to look at the team comps now and just ask yourself, how are they going to be killing this Nautilus and Alistar? They don't have an AD carry, and this Nautilus is fully stacking MR, only a single cloth armor.
Oh, Jax might be able to get a trade onto the Akali, so he's been able to at least take revenge for his Vladimir brethren, as swings both ways, is on the run. However, it is that adaptive helm, so it's a slightly tankier Nautilus, and he's going to help with the minions to take down the Jax. Catinator in trouble, flashes out of the stun, from Leona, so we'll be able to escape for now, but the defense not going to be enough. The second-tier top lane turret will fall, and Codyj's Toxic continue to stack up gold everywhere, left, right, and center.
Looks like Jax is being a little toxic, calling out the tank meta. But, you know, that's what they picked themselves into. They have no AD carry to shred this Nautilus. And you can already see that it's going to be a very difficult task as the game continues for them to break through this front line in order to get that hard-hitting Tristana as she scales up into the mid game.
So as the meta, according to this Jax, if it is a tank meta, we can talk very briefly and say that we might start seeing more Kog'Maws and Vanes and champions of that nature that have a little bit of true damage coming back. I remember when Quinn was played a heck of a lot because her true damage and her massive mobility. And with the laning phase, you know, of course, the later stages of the game, when the minions being sped up as well, we might see more Quinns coming back into the game.
Yeah, and Baron's coming up, spawning now. Infernal in 1 minute. Again, very big objectives here that both teams are definitely going to want to fight for, even if they might not be able to. It's hard to see what exactly options here. I think they're going to be looking for picks as they go in on Diana.
Oh, nice shield from Catinator. Keeps himself alive for now, but they do have the Jax there as well, who wants the stun. Lands it on both members, including the Alistar, but Jax is in trouble. Intra trying to run away. Sliver of health will still fall. Vladimir flashes forward, able to pick up the Diana, and the Leona ultimate gonna stun 2 up, or slow them at least, as no free names trying to escape for the moment. Boxy's got about half health, uses the dash with the Shadow Clone, but it's not gonna be enough. Tristana's gonna pop him through, and this is the power of having an AD carry on your side who just continues to blast through every single member that's CC'd now, as Alistar finds the Vladimir, gonna stun him up as well. Everyone's underneath that second tier turret, chasing in onto Mina, who uses the pool to escape for now and will be able to live. Phantom of Temp taking a huge shot from that turret. Arcane Vixen dropping a little bit of a ward over the wall. They are going to be able to walk away with several kills, but again, they're not scaling that gold lead that much, only going from about 4,000 gold to just slightly over 5,000. Actually,
it's hard, you know, unless Tristana goes full Codyj Sun here, it's kind of hard to see exactly how Jake Smellton will be able to take her down. They have Nautilus and Alistar for Peel, along with the other 2 assassins that they have to watch out for that are also very fast. It's like without some kind of death brush here or being able to do a Baron bait, they don't have many Jake Smellton doesn't have many options to take him out.
Okay, Jax, he does it! No way! Jax steals away the Ocean Drake from 3 members underneath it, and now the Zed goes in onto Arcane Vixen, zoning him out of the fight. Phantom of Temp is getting extremely low, but Intra's not dead. Catinator will be taken out as Boxy goes right back in. Phantom of Temp will drop, and Jake Smellton is making the outplay of the ages, turning it around, picks up the Ocean Drake to tie up the Ocean Drakes overall. I wanted to note as well, in that last fight, part of the gold not being that different was the fact that Catinator died, which meant the entire bounty he had on his head, which was huge, being 4-0, was given over to the Vladimir, who is the AP carry that we're relying on to start to carry this team. Now 5-2 with 2 items completed and another huge influx of gold. He might be able to start doing that.
Yeah, I talked about the peel from Alistar Nautilus, but it doesn't matter if they're not even there. Codyj takes the 3v5 and loses, and that might give Jake Smellton here some of the gold they need to be able to pick off those kills, close those item gaps that allows them to finish off the Tristana with that little bit of extra damage that they didn't have before, more consistently.
Now it looks like both teams wanted to dance around the Baron. You see a ton of words from Jake Smellton, making sure they've got plenty of vision, know where Codyj Toxic is at all times. We'll see if that's enough, though, as that scrying from Alistar is going to catch out plenty of wards for his own team to kind of help clear up. Neither team ready to engage just yet. Something to note is Jax is still sitting on tier 1 boots, so you can tell that he's invested a massive amount into his jungle and Trinity Force items, as he is going to engage, find the stun on the Alistar, but he's the tanky boy. You don't want to go for him just yet. You're kind of trying to jump into everyone else, as the Tristana is able to escape for now. Akali helping to burst down the Jax until Zed comes right back up, finishing the Tristana off. He is going to trade his life over, so it's a 1-for-1 at the moment, but that's the 80 carry gone down. Leona re-engaging onto the Akali. She's got the shrouds. She's invisible for the moment. Intra going to be taken out by Diana, who finds him on that backside. No free name. Still super tanky. Surviving with a sliver of health until Diana finishes her off, and she is cleaning house. Catinator picking up a triple kill. Wanting to find Vladimir as well. I don't think the Mina is going to be able to outplay onto 3 members, even though the Akali and the Alistar is super low. We'll see if
They're all
Vladimir can
extremely
escape
low.
Misty Empowered Cleave, but he's stunned up, snared up by the Nautilus auto attack, and that is going to be the clean ace from Codyj is Toxic, and they turn to the Baron.
Yeah, it was looking so good for the side of, I forget already, but Codyj is Toxic, even though they had a numbers disadvantage to start the fight off with in a 3v4, was still able, just thanks to the lack of the AD carry from the side of Jake Smellton, was not able to finish off the Tristana nearly fast enough and lost out the fight as Diana reinforced. And looks like they're going to be taking this Baron here, potentially, as Alistar looks to peel. Instead goes in.
Boxy's going to engage onto the Tristana, but he loses, way too much health. He was trying to make a play, but the Tristana able to ult him away, and Diana at this point, 9-2-0. Multiple items already completed, just has ridiculous amounts of burst, and with Zed being pushed away, he just gets so quickly shut down. 5 members sitting with the Baron. Now keep in mind, with those preseason changes, Baron's not as effective as it was before, and it actually doesn't do that much to really boost the minions' overall stats, but it's still a really good item to have off of the table and will help when it comes to the sieging, because your candy minions do get that extra boost of range.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Baron is still a menace, even with the nerfs to its tankiness, because it thinks all minions in general being tankier, it's still absolutely a huge threat. As you can see, his minions are just powering forward into this mid lane, supported by the side of Codyj is Toxic. They have 5 men grouped in the mid lane, and there's barely even 3 grouped by Jake Smellton here as they look to push forward, and Alistar gets a flash Q engaged.
Yep, he's going to hit 2. Nautilus grabbing a hook, pulls no free names into the team. He's going to drop. Diana still getting credit for all of these kills, wanting to carry the team into a victory. The route onto the Vladimir forces the Zhonya's trying to stay alive for now. Jax goes in, gets the stun on 2 members, but good proxy ult jump from the Tristana gets her out of harm's way. She's going to help take down the Jax. The Diana does fall to Teemo on the backside of the fight, but it's not going to matter because they have multiple cannons that are just burning through the inhibitor. It's going to be shattered and dropped. Zed and Vladimir, the only 2 members left alive for the moment, as no free name still has another 5 seconds before respawning. This might be the end of the game, as these cannons are going to tear through the Nexus turrets. Zed trying to do what damage he can onto these minions, but they're so darn tanky. Mina walking forward, going to get a little bit of AoE, but Codyj, he's so tanky himself, unable to go down. The Tristana is continuing to just free fire from the backside. The Codyj jumping right in onto Vladimir. He pulls, keeping himself alive for the moment until the grenade is popped, but it's too late. He is already gone. The grenade will be enough to finish him off. No free names, unable to save the second Nexus turret. Will ult to stop the Nautilus from walking away for now, as Jax is respawning, doing everything that they can to hold on. Phantom of 10th using the Shroud to escape for the moment. The flash from the Alistar keeps himself alive, or
Jax
I think it was the Nautilus.
Sorry, able to kill them all.
Ooh, wait, yeah, Jax able to finish off
Alistar
Tristana.
headbutts him into the Nautilus, helping him kill him.
He's going to take out the Nautilus. Now he wants to turn on to Codyj, but it's a full stack of minion and buffed, Baron empowered minions, and they're just going to beat down the Jax. It's a tanky Alistar. Small moonwalk is a victory dance as well. And Katnir says, I don't even need to fight the fight if I can just take an Infernal Drake and help my team win that way as well. They're sitting at a nice 8,000 gold lead. No turrets between them and victory in the mid lane. It's only a matter of time, but you got to give it to Jake Smellton for actually holding on, because I thought the game was over.
Yeah, Jake Smellton, Codyj is Toxic, not respecting the frequency of the respawns coming out of the side of Jake Smellton. With Jax able to take them down as they are just exhausted by the amount of life parts coming out on Jake Smellton's side. But yeah, it's looking like, despite the fact that they were able to pick up a couple of kills for the Jax into that fight and hold their Nexus, it's most likely only a matter of time as they're beginning to march down once again down the mid lane towards the open Nexus. 5 strong, 2 Infernals, and a very, very scary Akali, Diana, and Tristan.
Okay, with the game state now, Jake Smellton, I mean, all but losing the game at this point, is there anything that they can do to get themselves back into it? Because I really don't think there's a whole lot besides maybe a perfect pick off on Katinator, and then somehow fighting outside of the base and winning a 5v4.
I'm looking for 5-man Leona ults into 5-man Jax counter-strikes, into a Teemo Shroom, into Mina not DCing, hopefully, and flashing in and getting an ult and Q off. Because without this massive AoE damage from the Vladimir, you you have to be able to hit all of those members. You're not doing much.
And yeah, that's the main thing, is at this point in the game, with that super tanky front line of the Alistar and Nautilus, there's just not much you can do to get through them besides jump straight to that back line. But keep in mind, when they had, and I believe still have, the Baron Empowerment, it's not so much about even killing the enemy champions, because you gotta worry about those minions. They have been changed to deal almost twice as much damage, and they're harder to kill because they have a lot more tankiness on top of all of it. And so you have to keep that in mind. And again, that's one of the things that's actually hurting Jake Smellton. Not taking an 80 carry means it's going to be a little bit slower to clearing those waves and a little bit slower keeping those minions from burning down your turrets and inhibitors.
Yeah, there really just aren't that many options available to Jake Smellton here. They have to, in every fight they were the one before, it was always because they had a numbers advantage, because Nautilus or out was pushing top, or because Alistar was in base. But you know, when the side of Codyj's Toxic is grouped together, there isn't much that can really stop them short of a massive misplay at a Tristana. You know, maybe if she does what, you know, the classic Codyj Sun and jumps into all the damage, they might be able to swing things. But even then, the Diana is also a massive threat here. Already having the Lich Bane, Morello, Zanya's combo, it's hard to see exactly how they can walk their way to these fights, if anything less than 5 dead members on their own side.
So it took me a moment to actually mentally figure out what Codyj was saying in chat. He says, MVP ruined Nautilus's perfect game. And I was trying to run through my head what he was saying, because he's on the same side of the Nautilus, and Nautilus is 3-1-9, until it finally clicked that it was the Alistar headbutt pushing Jax into the Nautilus that gave that one death to the Nautilus. Otherwise, he would have been a deathless champion this game. That's pretty hilarious. As the bottom lane going to be pushed out by Codyj is Toxic. Codyj is just going to engage, knocking up 2 members. Teemo's already gone. This is the fight that you're talking about. They just say, we are so far ahead. Double Infernals and an Ocean Drake to top it all off. It doesn't even matter. We'll take the damage from your turret. We'll lose the Tristana. We'll still win the game. The Vladimir, the only one left alive, and the CC chaining by this team is just way too much. Mina will escape death as Codyj tries to get the knock-up for now. We'll see if it's enough. Again, there's a huge mini wave pushing through the mid lane. There it is, Cataneer with the burst. Takes out the Vladimir. They're going to knock down the bottom lane. Inhibitor turret. Inhibitor falling as well. And there's the surrender, because they know it's only a matter of time. And as I said, for Brett, have a dab, because Blue Side is not going to be dabbing after that game.
Yeah. I will say one small comment before we break down the performances of the individual players. I was very surprised not to see Dark Harvest picked up by any of these players. It's an extremely strong rune at the moment. If you've been playing at all, you've seen it everywhere. I'm a little surprised not to see it picked up in this game, but hopefully we might be able to see it later in the games later tonight.
We'll find out. So we're going to run through these teams. If you want to go ahead and pick an MVP and an honorable mention out of the losing team, Jake Smellton, which, you know, maybe I was sponsoring the team and I was smelling a little bad. Sorry, guys. It's probably my fault, but dab it away. Let's go. Coldar, what do you think for a losing team or MVP and an honorable mention?
I have to say the honorable mention, it's hard to say if it's Jax or Zed. Mostly because it felt like Jax was given a few of the kills he got with the headbutt from the Alistar. The headbutt pulverized fail from him. It's a bit of a toss-up. I will say Zed did get some critical kills, or at least critical bursts, onto the Tristana. That was the absolute #1 target for him to kill for most of this game. And outside of that, I think the MVP definitely has to be the Vlad. Despite the fact that, you know, he was not the 80 carry, he was definitely the one outputting the most damage in these fights. And in a few key places, he might have even been able to swing the entire thing without. It's just a few unfortunate things didn't go quite as well.
All right, for the winning side, Codyj is Toxic. The honorable mention I'm going to give over to Swings Both Ways for not only after kind of starting to lose the top side a little bit, Teemo did have some pretty good pressure, and that what you would think was a winning lane with that harassment still was able to kind of hold into that top lane, able to come out victorious with some kills as well, and deathless for most of the game. But MVP is going to go over to Cataneer for playing a beautiful Diana, able to find the right times to go and able to walk out with no health multiple times over, escaping the jaws of death. but also really just knowing the limits of that champion, going full burst because she saw the lineup and said, no free names is the only tanky person on this team. Let me just wreck house. And even added the Zanyas in. I love the little BM chasing the Jax out of the jungle before spiting. We don't add a lot of toxicity, but that was some pretty good laughs. That wasn't why he got MVP, but I just had to make a small comment to say that was a pretty funny moment. Somebody should have clipped that. If you didn't, I'm gonna be a little upset.
Yeah. I was a little upset not to see Diana go the is it meta 6 wits end build, but you know what? It looks like the 8 standard AP still works okay. She does
After all, in the preseason. It's the preseason, guys. You can do some crazy stuff, find some fun ridiculousness. I'm going to make sure that I send these guys, as we go to a short break, it might be a little bit longer than usual, because I'm going to actually send these guys I have most of them friended. The mystery skin gift. Keep in mind, if I don't have you friended, it may be up to 2 days before I'm able to gift you that mystery skin gift, because it is going to take me at least 2 days before I can gift you that. But I will friend everyone who plays tonight, and everyone who plays in the games tonight, I'm sending a mystery skin gift, as it is Thanksgiving. And with that, Cold Art, send us off to the be right back screen.
Well, guys, we'll be right back. Don't click those browsers. Don't click the X in the browser anyway. We'll be right back. Hope to see you soon.
All right, we'll be right back.